G'day fellow YouTubers, that Blue Monkey here. Today I'll be doing a different video to what I usually do. Instead of working on the car, I'll be doing some DIY videos instead. The car's going to be left until spring because we're still in autumn at the we're still in winter at the moment, and the weather hasn't been too well, as you could probably see. It's a bit cloudy and rain, sun, kind of unpredictable in here. I'm in Melbourne, so if I consider it to be the grey city. It's always cloudy or rainy. You never know what the weather's going to be, so I wait until spring till we get some better weather. So instead, I'll be doing other videos such as what I'm going to be doing now, which is smelting. I'll be teaching you how to melt down aluminium, maybe some other ores later on down the track, well not ores, but the materials, you know, metal, steel, all that other crap. But today we're going to be focusing on aluminium. We've got here some aluminium I've previously melted down, round stock, and you just got your standard little ingots. We're teaching you how to do that. So, without further ado, let's get to it. At the moment, I've just got it heating up. It's all heating up now. You can't really see that, but I can't see. You guys can see that or not? Oh, there we are. So it's heating up. So just let that go for about 10 minutes. And let it heat up, and then we'll start heating up the crucible. Yeah, so fuck. Damn tripod. Yeah, my brother's tripod is kind of buggered at the moment. I need to get a new one. So not the best, but I'll make do with what I've got. Anyway, this is the crucible I'll be using. It's just a standard graphite crucible. I'll be melting ingots into this after it's being cleaned up and prepped. Same with this one too, it's a little bit dirty, but clean them up so that, you know, the stuff doesn't stick to it and all that crap. So as you can see, that's a lot of oxidation and stuff there from previous melts. So it's all going to be cleaned up to make it as pure as possible. So we'll heat them up after the crucible's warmed up, and then we'll start melting aluminium. Well, actually, we won't heat them up until we've got the aluminium melted. So it'll cool off before we get the aluminium to be poured. So put this on there, give it a bit of a breather, and just let that heat up, and we'll be back. Okay, I just came back from cleaning these out, nice and clean now, sort of. I'm not too fast, I mean it's only aluminium, but when I came back, somehow the gas went out. Still pumping out gas, there's no flame, don't know what happened, so still got to let it heat up. But for the time being, I'm just going to show you with the what's wrong with this one at the moment. You can probably see, I think you can see it. Yeah, you can. Oh, sorry about the tripod, it's fucked. This crack here, it's all just starting to fall apart. This whole section right here, this corner part here, comes off, so, you know, hence the wire. It's getting old, and a pretty big hole in where the burner goes now, so the gas. So I do have this that I picked up from work. I'm thinking about turning this into some sort of crucible. It's a little pipe, I don't know what it was from, but scrap metal, so they're going to throw it out. I thought I'd take it. I'm thinking about using this as the inlay, or maybe using some more refractory brick is what I've been using. This refractory brick, you get it at most, you know, Bunnings or any local hardware store really, in Australia anyway. America's probably Home Depot or something, I don't know. But this will probably end up being the crucible, because, you know, that's pretty thick steel there, so probably end up using that. It actually weighs a fair bit too, so that's decent stainless steel, but this has to pop off. It's not glued in. That's glued in, I think, not welded, so I'll just bash that out or heat it up or something. And I'll just weld the proper plate to the bottom of that. And that'll use as a crucible, because they do wear out. These ones, I mean, it's a lot thicker, but over time they do wear out, and I don't want to keep having to buy these, and they don't hold too much, so I'll use a bigger one. Well, I'll do something like that eventually, but anyway, as this is still a bit cold, I'm just gonna drop the crucible straight in. That way it heats up on its own. Really, you shouldn't do that, but me, I'm impatient. They should really be heated up with a gun or something, evenly heated, otherwise they crack. They don't like sudden introduction of heat or cooling. So if you cool it off really quickly, bang, it'll shatter. So when you're heating it up, you just drop it into a really hot furnace or crucibles, it'll crack. Plus if you drop them, they'll chip. You can probably see little chip marks on it. You know, that happens. But yeah, you just gotta take care of them. I'm just gonna chuck it in while it's not that hot. Plus it makes your hands dirty. That's all the graphite. So, chuck it in. Let's see what happens. Now, put the camera down. I'll do that so you can see. You don't want to be looking at me the entire time. Yeah. I should bring this closer. Don't know how close I can bring it because of the heat. Oh, shit. You can't really see much there, so I'll just bring it over. This is hard with the tripod. Sort of see there. The heat's coming out and it'll take a bit longer, but eventually that'll heat up. I'll straighten it up a bit. Yeah. There you are. Yeah. I was using old gas canisters. I'll show you that in a second. Yeah. That's why I use pliers. They seem to work better. Anyway. Yep. Don't do that to me. Stay. Alright. No, she's not going to stay. Damn cameras. Yeah. Oh well. While it's heating up. Put the lid back on that. Yeah, you always put a lid on it. These gas canisters, that's what I've been using, the TF gas. So I've been, actually, probably looking backwards too, I think, I don't know. So, anyway, TF gas I've sort of been using. I just cut it down the section there, and then just, you know, I use that in the furnace to heat it up. They don't last long. I usually get one burn out of these, and then, like last time what happened is, a lot of this is from my slag catch. That's a lot of the aluminium burnt a hole into the crucible. It all poured out, filled up into the furnace, and that's what I get. Like you can see a lot of the steel, the back here, all that brown or greyish stuff. That's all the steel that's come off it. So you know that's all unburnt stuff that had to tear out of the rest of the crucible. So I'll melt that down again proper later on, but that's why I got the stainless steel, make crucibles that won't burn out. I usually use those for burning the ones, like the old cans and stuff, ones that's going to have dross in it. Dross, slag, whatever you just call it, I call it slag. But you get the more better stuff, which is the straight up aluminium, and I'll melt that down in the actual crucibles. That way it's cleaner, not much to clean out of the crucible itself, and that's just my method. This, I melted that down before it had any of that meltdown. This was melted down in a pan, but obviously I want to make proper ingot, so I've got to cut that down and remelt it. Only downside to that is aluminium oxidizes. So when you do melt it down, you just get a lot of slag. If I melt this down, I think about a third of it will be slag, and the rest will be salvageable. So, but yeah, it happens. Yeah, still not hot enough. Well, guess I'll be back when it's hot. Okay, so we're back. And as you can see, the furnace is starting to get hot. That's hot enough to be able to stick cans into now. So, it's still getting hotter. I can see better from my angle, but yeah, we can start putting cans in there now. Hopefully this thing stays this time. Oh. It might not. Hopefully it does, that's better. Bring this forward a bit, please. There you go, just hope that's not enough to melt anything. Yeah. Gotta get a new tripod. Anyway, time to start melting down some cans. Whack them in. Oh, she fits. No. had to squash them all down. A lot of these are probably not going to fit the crucible properly, so that's a downside. I've been trying to make a can crusher. My mum's got one that I've been using, but this is a result of her can crusher. Not the best. So I've got to go out and get my own, more like a hydraulic crusher. Make them a lot smaller than this so they fit in. But yeah, you can see what's happening here. It starts smoking. I don't know if that's going to be too much heat for this or not. Sorry if my hand's in the way, just got to make sure I don't melt anything. This is my brother's camera. And I'll put the lid on it now. I don't know if you can see that actually. Yeah, you can see the black smoke coming out of it. Don't want to be breathing that in, so and it's blown away. Not good for your health, so you know, wear a respirator or something. I'm just using simple little masks at the moment. It's not that bad, but yeah, whenever you're dealing with chemicals or smoke or anything like that, use a respirator or a mask or something. You know, it's not worth your health. So I'll whack this on and start melting down more aluminium. Got to lose the beard. Doesn't work too well. I can't see. No, let's get to it. Yeah. Upside down. Oh. That's what you get for not having much sleep. That's better. Dr. Monkey. Now, I'll show you this. Get around with this tripod again. So you see in there, it's gone all black. That's most of the aluminium that's melted will be at the bottom of that, and what's left on top is all the chemicals and stuff called dross or slag or whatever it may be, and that's the stuff you've got to scrape off. So get my trusty spoon. You can see I've used it already. Let's see if we can scrape some of that off and show you without cooking my face. So we don't have much in here, that's all just, see this? It's all kind of, what's that starting? But there's aluminium there, I just need more of it. Oh, there we are. That was lucky. You can see where the hole is, all the aluminium kind of, yeah, there we are. All the aluminium just came out of that. So if I held that over something, it would have burnt the shit out of me, because aluminium melts at 600 degrees, so wouldn't have been fun. But yeah, that's dross. You don't want that. So what's in there is this, and this is what you want. Down we go again with the camera. I think I might take this off the tripod, actually, it might be easier. Oh shit, my bad. Oh boy. Yeah. There we go. That's what you want. But like I said, it is aluminium, and it does oxidize. Let's see, let's take this off the tripod, make things easier. There we go. It's better, I'll just use my hands. Yeah, you can see this tripod, it's all broken. It's all just fucked up. So I've got to get my own, but it does what I need for now. So yeah, alright, a bit blurry. You can see the flames, and we'll start whacking more aluminium in. Now that one, as I said, doesn't fit, so I'll let that melt down a bit, and when it does, it'll hopefully drop in there on its own. So I'll put the lid back over it, wrong way. Zoom this back out for you. Sorry about this, fucking didn't plan too well today, had a late night, still tired. But that's all the cans I've got to crush. I might actually try before I melt these ones down. I've got another bag over here. These are, I think, no, these are all the bigger ones. No, I'll melt these ones down. I actually thought I had some that weren't crushed yet. They would have been a better option. That's one I did melt before I ran out of gas. So I'll be whacking that in there too. Melt that down. You can see all the dross here. That's a lot of dross. Oh, slag. Why do we keep calling it dross? So, as those are the ones I showed you before, but you can see again from the last one, melted it down. You can see all the steel on it. So, you know, that'll I don't think this will melt, but that'll end up coming out as slag as well when I purify this. So what I'll do with this later on, you can see half melted can, that's what it looks like before it's completely melted. But I'll whack that into a, what do they call them, ball mill. And hopefully I'll try to get some more of the aluminium out of this, because a lot of that's just the chemicals and stuff in this from the cans, like zinc and whatever the hell it is that they used to cover it up. But it's all the chemicals and that stuff. So you got your slag and then you got oxidized aluminium, which is, you know, that's what happens when you get the air into it. That's why I cover it. As you can see, oh shit, I think I just broke it. Yeah, that sucked. Refractory brick, good for heat, not strong for impact. Let's see if we push this down. That's what happens as well when you're using one hand. So this is the shitty part. Trying to burn myself here. See, and a lot of get off. You can see a lot of the aluminium on the side there. That's another downside. So I'll probably scrape that off later and whack it in there. And you can see now it's glowing hot. So that's what you want. So I'll just keep melting all this down, and when there's enough, I'll come back and show you what it's like when you pour it. Alright, so we're back. It's a bit nippy out here, so I got my hoodie on. We're ready to start pouring it now. I've got some of the dross out, which has still got a lot of aluminium in there. You see that? And I had to show you this. I wish I actually had this on film when it happened that day. Always make sure you know what you're pouring your metal, whatever it may be, into. Make sure it's stronger than what you're going to be pouring it into. This I thought was iron. It actually isn't. It was an old draffle maker for camping, and it turns out that it's some grade of aluminium. And when I poured it in, you can see there all the aluminium poured out from it. So you can see sort of where the hole is before I broke it all off. Yeah. So yeah, always make sure you know what you're pouring your casts into. Make sure it's stronger and can withstand the temperatures. Otherwise, you could be in a lot of trouble. Right, oh, it's smoking. So you can see that's oxidized again on the top. You don't want that, so you're always trying to make sure that it's completely covered, just with a little bit of pressure, like a hole or something, just so it can breathe. You don't want it building up too much pressure, because that can be bad. With this, there's plenty of holes around the side of it, so it doesn't really matter. That's why I use a full one. But let's see if I can do this with one hand. I'm actually supporting this. Usually I have this flat on the ground, but for the sake of the video, do this. So I've got this higher up. Grab another one of these. Let's hope I don't drop this one. I don't want that to break. Alrighty, actually I'll put this closer. Just don't want to be too close to that. Don't want any spills on that, that'll be bad. I actually notice, it's not that cold at the moment. This actually gets to the cold to the point where ice starts developing around you. So it gets pretty cold. But anyway, pull this out. Careful. I'm gonna probably make a fucking mess of this. I've never done this with one hand before. So we'll see how it goes. Sorry if there's a lot of camera. I'm more or less concerned about this. You know, always make sure you know what you're doing. Don't be distracted. Alright. Alright, let's see. See that? Still a lot in there. Like I said, it oxidized. There's probably still more
somewhere in there. So we'll just oxidize, so I'll just let that melt again and put another batch on, but that's what you get. And as well as that, see how it's sinking? That's the downside to aluminium. It sinks, or it shrinks I should say. So they always say to use something when you're casting, to use something like a riser. I'm trying to find something I can use as an example. I don't have anything, but I can show you some of the ores in here, all the ingots. What happens? Not so much that one, but here, the round stock. This can be used sort of like a when you're casting something. So say that was on a bigger scale, you'd have a pipe or something that would go at the top of this, and as this pours, this will be the part you cut off from the actual mold. And because that way you don't get that sinking thing as you got right there. So if I wanted to get rid of this, I'd have to cut off to about there, and then it'd be flat like on the bottom. And you can see here as well, that's what happens from not having the ingots hot enough, or the casting, which is kind of, I made that mistake with this one, so it'll probably look the same. I didn't heat it up, so obviously it could crack it, but it hasn't so far, so that's lucky. But yeah, as you can see now, it's curing more. It's got that nice big dent there, so that doesn't look attractive. But I can cut that off, but you know, I'm not gonna, because it's only an ingot. I'm only gonna melt it down to make actual stuff. Right now I'm just saving it up and stocking the stuff for when I need it. So we'll whack that back in there, and we'll make another batch. As you can see, that's pretty bad. Let's see if you can see the hole in there. Oh, too far, blurry. There we are. That was the hole, and you can see it's all starting to melt down. So I need to make another crucible, which I will do that eventually, you know, smelter. And I'll be using these bricks to do it, so maybe later on I'll make another video on that. Yeah. Nice MacGyver, way I do everything. You know what? Oh bugger. There we are. Yeah. Lighting, I hate that. And it goes all dark, bad exposure. Nice exposure. I'm still getting used to doing all that stuff, but you know what? That's how you smelt aluminium. I might do some on copper later on. I've got some copper inside. I do have some zinc, which was in that pile of other ingots. I'll have to show you that and the difference, and how you can tell the difference between the both of them. Usually it's just a weight sort of thing, but I'll show you those videos some other time. And yeah, so that's how you melt aluminium. I'm that blue monkey, and like always, don't be a monkey like me. See you later.